Keon Coleman is good, I think. Maybe? Hello everyone and welcome in. My name is Addison Willman and this is Second Read. Today we're doing 3 plays where I take 3 plays that I think kind of show what type of player someone is, and then I give you my thoughts. Today we're taking a look at Keon Coleman, the big-bodied receiver out of Florida State. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the tape. In this first clip, Keon Coleman is lined up as the number 2 in the slot to the top of the screen. He's going to gain a lot of ground really quickly on this DB, use his massive amount of strength to basically shove him down like a little kid, and he gets a ton of separation, easy completion to the boundary. Now I think this clip shows 2 things. One, this defensive back is lined up about 10 yards away, and he's able to gain ground very quickly, which obviously is a translatable skill to the NFL. Second, he's able to push this DB around like he's a small child, which I also think is somewhat translatable to the NFL to an extent. Sure, maybe you're not going to be able to push around Jalen Ramsey like a middle school bully, but there are a lot of corners in the NFL who weigh $180, $190 soaking wet, and Keon Coleman is going to be able to handle those guys really well, especially playing from the slot. Moving on to this second clip, it's a really neat play design. Keon Coleman's again lined up as the number 2 in the slot, and it's like a fake bubble pass that he turns into a wide open touchdown. I wanted to include this play because I think it really demonstrates that short area burst that Keon Coleman has that seems to be really underrated so far. I hear people all the time saying that he's a big, clunky, slow receiver, but that's just not true. He's very capable of bursting past guys in these short areas of the field, and I think he's got some really underrated quickness where he doesn't have super great long speed, which you'll see in this next clip. Finally, in this clip, we have Keon Coleman lined up to the boundary on the bottom of your screen, and it's not great. The DB number 3 is playing off-man coverage, and as you can clearly see, he is not at all threatened by Keon Coleman's deep speed. Keep in mind, this isn't a very well-thrown ball either. Maybe with some better placement, Keon Coleman can adjust to it and make the deep catch, but as is, this is really not good film on Keon Coleman's part. Your best shot at using Keon Coleman deep down the field is really just to throw him a 50-50 ball because he is so tall, he has such long arms, and he's really good at playing through contact. So in the end, what do I think of Keon Coleman as a player? He's a very talented athlete with maybe the best highlight reel of this entire draft class, and that's saying something when you're stacked up against guys like Malik Neighbors and Rome Odunze and Marvin Harrison Jr. I'd also go so far as to say he's probably the strongest receiver in this class, and that means with run blocking, contested catches over the middle of the field. He's so big, so strong, and he's even pretty fast for his size. But that speed is not good enough to beat NFL defensive backs deep down the field, and he's probably going to be relegated to the slot. And I know that might sound scary, that he isn't going to be this dominant X receiver, this number 1 type of guy, but I really don't think that's the case. If Keon Coleman were to get drafted by a team like Cincinnati in the 2nd round maybe, he's a perfect fit. I could see him getting upwards of 60 targets, close to 1,000 yards, and a lot of touchdowns. But if he goes to a team that insists on using him incorrectly, he could just as very well be the next bust. I know that all prospects are pretty dependent on what team they land with, but with Keon Coleman, I think that's especially true. All in all, I think Keon Coleman is a great but not elite wide receiver prospect that's probably going to get drafted somewhere on day 2, and if he goes to the right spot, you could be hearing his name a lot his rookie year. And that's going to be the end of the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. As always, your support is greatly appreciated, and I'll see you in the next one.